Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Edward, also known as Strategy, and you might notice something a little different. As I may have preluded in other videos, I have started building up a Magic the Gathering online client. I've had this I've had this account for a while now, and I've finally just said, screw it. I'm gonna buy into some vintage. So I'm already doing some cubes in the Lotus Lounge server on Discord, and that's been a ton of fun. And now I'm gonna start playing some vintage. I haven't played vintage in a while. Outside of like the Tulsa Vintage League things, I just really haven't. So I'm excited to get back into it. Ignore some of my card arts. Some of the more original arts are kind of expensive. I did splurge a little bit, as you can see, when it didn't matter too much cost wise. But yeah, hopefully after I win some leagues or maybe get to play in some challenges and stuff, I can start filling out the client and start finishing owning all the cards in the cube, and can go from there. So today I'm going to be playing Esper Lurrus. Normally I subscribe to the don't play legacy and vintage, but I do think that this is one of the more balanced decks, and so I'm hoping that I can kind of use this as training wheels to get back into the format, because again, I'm just not attuned to it as much. And even though I'm a huge fan of Oath and Breach style decks, I think people would rather see me play, Esper Lurrus or Lurrus PO and stuff like that, other than just playing, Oath for the first 5 or so videos. However much I do this, it's not too expensive to buy the cards for PO and switch to that archetype, especially because like Mox Opal and a lot of the other differences are also in the cube, so I'm already incentivized to buy those. And I don't want to rent. For those of you that are going to ask, why don't you just rent? I don't want to. So that's the end of that. So without further ado, I did copy paste a list. I did change a Stony Silence from the sideboard and swapped a Force of Negation. I'm not saying this is correct. It's just something I decided to do. Oh, I also decided to play 3 Stony Silences instead of I think it was a Null Rod. Maybe it was 2 Null Rods. Either way, Stony Silence was like a penny or two, and Null Rods were like 10 to 15-ish bucks, if I remember correctly, something like that. So I wanted to save money, mostly because, the cube's expensive. There's a lot of cards in there, and that's a corner I decided to cut. Most of the decks I'm going to want Stony Silence for aren't wastelanding me, because even Shops plays Null Rod now, so like, if they're literally building their deck to where Null Rod doesn't hurt them as much, I probably shouldn't be bringing it in against them, is my kind of philosophy on that. So unless it's, when I say shops, I mean like Sphere shops. So unless it's like Jewel or something or PO, like Stony Silence is just as good because they're not attacking my mana base usually. So yeah, I'm gonna start round 1 and I'll see you there. The NYSE is returning for its 10th installment. This event will be held June 6th at the Knights of Columbus in Patchogue, New York. Top 8 prizes include all 5 Moxen, Time Walk, Ancestral Recall, and even a Black Lotus. Proxies are allowed for this event. Please use the link in the description for more information on proxies and other questions you may have. Now let's get back to the video. Welcome to round 1. Let me reveal my Lurrus. I do apologize for my camera not being on. I just got back from work and I don't really want to be on camera right now. So, all right, we are going to keep this hand as it has a turn 1 Lavinia. We also have a Strip Mine. Let's keep. We are on the draw. Opponent leads Island. Okay, Island go. There's a dig through time. Well, let's just Strip Mine, shall we? Give off as little information as possible. Is this a recall? Oh, a Brainstorm. Okay. Opponent may have a fetch land to shuffle away, but they're still going to draw at least one of their Brainstorm cards. So, that's fine. I'm not sure if I want to play the Black Lotus out or not. I mean, I guess not every strip mine deck plays Black Lotus, but I believe like the dredge decks don't play strip mine or wastelands in the main. I believe they're all sideboard. So I think it's safe to say that a strip mine deck would have a Black Lotus. Pros to playing out the Black Lotus is I am less likely to play into Mindbreak Trap next turn. As of right now, I could not, even if I wanted to. But it's less likely. Cons, of course, you know, they know I have a Black Lotus, so maybe they want to stick out a Null Rod or something. But I think if they had a Null Rod and they had the capability of playing it turn 1, they probably would have led with it. So I think I'm just going to hold back the Black Lotus. Had my opponent not just gone Island Go, I mean, I did keep this hand to just literally go turn 1 Lotus Lavinia, so... Wasteland? No, that'd have been funny. Sure, let's cast... I guess... Technically, we should play land first. Alright, let's cast the Sapphire. Now, if our opponent has a Daze here, it's going to be really annoying, but Daze is not as played as it is in Legacy. Just play Lavinia. See if they want to force it. If they force it, that's fine. We have dig through time next turn with the Lotus. Okay, it sticks. Let's see. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so even if they killed the Lavinia, we still can't cast dig through time. So I'm going to hold the Black Lotus still. Opponent being a Tundra deck that revealed... Okay, they did reveal Lurrus. I did miss that. I need to get better with using this client for sure. Okay. Underground Sea. Wasteland, okay. Little do they know that we have plenty of lands. And if they're wastelanding us, it means they can't cast as many spells. Because Lavinia, if you're not aware, they can only cast spells or non-creature spells of CMC equal to or less than the amount of lands they have. Here, I think I want to just play Flooded Strand, and then I'm going to play Black Lotus now that we have a reason to. I mean, we would have a reason to anyways, I suppose, because the dig through time, but now we can hard cast a Black Lotus. Our opponent may have a Swords to Plowshares, and maybe that's why they don't necessarily care about the Lavinia, but if they do, I could Force of Will it, paying my mana, which is why I wanted to play it out first before I went to combat, because if they're going to Swords it, they're likely to do it in combat. So now our opponent can cast Time Walk effects, or a Psychic Frog. Yeah, I'll respond to this. Let's get another Tundra. Let's cast... Play out the Lotus. Or, sorry, to play out the Force of Will. They can't Force of Will back because of the Lavinia. Yep. And then now we have a yard for our dig through time. Okay, Force of Will back as well. I guess I can just count, huh? It says 6. Okay, so do I want to leave up... I think I would rather leave up white than black. I believe I don't have any main board black spells. Single black spells where I have like Swords of the Plowshares and white. Okay, yes, so we still have the Swords of the Plowshares. Fantastic. Let's hit for 1. One of the things that I really like about this deck, even though it's kind of a slower, grindier deck, is that Lavinia is just so strong in this format. So I will admit that being able to play Lavinia is a huge uptick for me in willingness to play this. Okay, that's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. So the last New York Stacks Exchange tournament, I started off 4-0, I believe, and I got paired down to a 3-1, who ended up winning the tournament. Swords the Plowshares. I think it's willing. I think I'm willing to fight over this. It's just, do I want to Spell Pierce or Force of Will? I'm sorry. Do I want to pitch Spell Pierce or Dig Through Time to my Force of Will? I don't want to pitch Frog because obviously we have this. I think I'm going to pitch the Spell Pierce over the Dig Through Time. I know I can't cast the Dig Through Time yet, so I'm probably supposed to. But I can't protect Frog without drawing a land anyways here. Oh, well, that's really unfortunate. All right, let's play Lavinia. Obviously, if I'd known I had a Lavinia, I would not have forced there. It means that they could have forced my second Lavinia, so like it's not free by any means, but here we're going to play a Frog. Our opponent's already gone through, what, 2 Swords of the Plowshares now? No, why was I thinking they had 2? Demonic Tutor. Okay. I wanted to stop there for a little bit to, you know, maybe make our opponent think. I assume this is going to be for a Swords. Okay, and they Swords the Frog, which is annoying. Yeah, it's not worth pitching my other things. I could pitch Lavinia and Swords. That gets me to 5, so no, it does. It's still, like, I wouldn't want to do that anyways, but especially since it doesn't get me to Dig Through Time, I'm definitely not doing it. I do have a strong feeling that our opponent did Demonic Tutor for that Swords to Plowshares, though. Okay. We'll cast a Jet. Our opponent's Wastelands are coming back to haunt us a little bit. So this should be the Esper Mirror, is what I am predicting at this point, just because the Wastelands, I don't think the PO versions play Wasteland. So unfortunately we don't have a white source to play. Ooh, Bobble. Okay, well, Dig Through Time can still be cast because this doesn't have the other clause that Lavinia has. It just says if no mana was paid. Our opponent's getting really close to being able to hard cast Force of Will, though, which is unfortunate. Our opponent probably is going to be buying Lurrus here, something I probably should have done last turn. Yep, they bought Lurrus. Okay. Bowmasters is nice. Again, not an excuse. I definitely should have bought Lurrus last turn, but now we're not going to buy Lurrus. So I'm not going to sorcery speed the Bowmasters. Let's see, what can... They can get back to Lavinia and Frog. That's actually really not great for us. Hopefully we can just top deck a white source. I assume Frog is coming down. Oh yeah, because we Swords the Lavinia, so it's not here. Yep. Let's just play Bowmasters. It would be nice to draw a white source right now. That's not a white source. And our opponent has 2 cards left in hand. And they're going to be able to jump with the Frog. Yep. So keep in mind, because of their Vexing Bubble, I cannot pitch cast this Force and have it resolve. So I will have to tap for it. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, as I have nothing else to do with my mana. I don't think our opponent has anything else they can get. Yeah, nothing else with the Lurrus. They could, of course, cycle. Yep, not attacking because they don't want to take the 1, I guess. Not going to complain there. All right, let's draw a white source. This is a white source. I believe I have a 3rd Tundra. My 3rd and final Tundra. Yep. So here I just want to say go, because I don't want to play into their force of will. I think that would be a mistake, because they can hard cast it. Obviously, if our opponent has a wasteland here, which I hate that I said that because now they're going to have it, then I'm kind of forced to. But I would like to set up a situation to where I can time walk. Interesting. I will just cast this. So if they swords, or sorry, if they wasteland me here, it's going to be absolutely brutal, because then I'm out of white minus the pearl. Because I can't even get back the Lotus because I exiled it, and the Vexing Bauble's in play, even if I didn't. But also, 1, Force of Negation doesn't have a lot of targets, but 2, I wanted to set up a situation to where I could Force of Negation back up the swords. Now obviously I cannot, but they can't force back up. They have to have Force of Negation, which if they had Force of Negation, I think they would have fired it off, just because they get the time walk turn. Not attacking again. I'm not complaining. Drawing a card here and then replaying the bauble, I'm okay with that too. Okay, I was gonna say I am okay with being able to just ping them. That sounds great for me. Okay, again, I can't force of will back up this. Let's Swords the Frog. I could Swords the Lurrus, of course. But the Frog is the real problem, and if I Swords the Frog... Okay, they did have a Force of Negation. I could hit a Spell... Or I guess I can't hit a Spell Pierce because I only have black. I still think... No, I can't do it, actually. I only have 5 spell. Oh, yes, I can. That's 8. Yeah, I just have to tap out for it. And again, this doesn't have the claws that Lavinia has, so I'm still able to do this. Now, Pearl, I was just going to say, Pearl's swords here would be absolutely disgusting. Oh, no, I can't take the swords because the Vexing Bauble. I mean, I said the swords. I meant the Mox Pearl. That's actually kind of annoying, but I can take just swords Orcish Bowmasters, maybe. I could also just take 2 swords. I really don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I really wish I could take this Pearl. If I get wastelanded, the taking 2 swords is just abysmal, where 1 sword's currently clears up this board. So I think I'm supposed to just take Orcish Bowmasters. I can't Force of Will right now anyways, and I have Lavinia to pitch to it, so I think that's what I'm supposed to do. Resolves. Now I understand why they didn't want to crack this. I guess they were willing to take the damage, but they weren't willing to give up on Force of Negation. Okay. And next turn, if we get to untap, we will have Orcish Bowmasters. Are they attacking? Do I get to block? I'm surprised that they're letting me block. That attack doesn't make sense to me. Unless they forgot to jump the frog. You have second frog. Okay, well that's a problem. Another swords, eh? Or another force of will, I mean, eh? If they crack Bobble in response here, I can Orcish Bowmasters. They could have another Force of Negation. It would make sense why they haven't done much in the last few turns. Okay. Yeah, I think I just need to play this Orcish Bowmasters. I'm not attacking with the Lavinia. I don't want to get blown out by an opponent's Orcish Bowmasters. I'm hoping that they just crack this Bobble, because if they crack the Bobble, it won't be in play, so I can force pitch. And then of course I'll be able to double ping. Didn't attack. Interesting. All right, let's Bowmasters. Days. Well, that's not going to do too much unless they hard cast a force at this point. So I guess we'll continue sitting here. Let's, I guess, buy the Lurrus. Let's not be... I guess I can't daze if I buy the Lurrus, but... I'm not getting back much with the Lurrus anyways. But now I can attack... I can reasonably attack the Orcish with the Orcish Bowmasters and play the Lurrus if I can find a 5th land. I did find a 5th land. Yeah. Again, they have to hard cast the force and then I'll be able to daze it. This doesn't make a lot of sense to attack with both. Let's just play the Lurrus. I feel like if they had removal, they would have done it already. Okay, they let that resolve. Interesting. I'm sure a better pilot could have navigated this a little bit better. Again, I'm still learning. One, how to play this deck, and two, I'm kind of getting refamiliar. I do think that we're advantaged currently, but swords on... Okay. That's frustrating. All right. Another underground sea, eh? All right, I guess we're just going to keep staring at each other. Notably, if they have an Ancestral Recall, they will go to 1. Of course, I'll Force of Will, but that's a wasteland. There goes our last white source. Without Pearl, then we're just done, basically. Yep. This I'll keep for a Brainstorm. I don't have a Surveil land in this version, which I think is a mistake, but again, I copy-pasted. And this exact matchup is why I swapped 1 Force of Negation out of my deck for the Stony Silence. Not that I want Stony Silence for this matchup, but I definitely don't want a Force of Negation. Urza Saga, that is gaming. All right. So now we have something to break the standstill monotony, although this frog is going to get huge. They have so many cards in hand. And this gets our white source, I just realized as well. I guess I should probably turn off auto yields. Yeah, let's just say go. Now, I can crack this underground sea for our polluted delta for this last island that we have. I do want to cast Orcish Bowmasters first. I hope that they use Force of Will it. That would be great, because that will just daze their force. Please cast Force of Will. Fantastic. Let's crack our fetch. Go get our island. We have no more fetchables. Cast, target the Force of Will. And then we will make our Urza Saga token. Yep, that sounds like game to me. All right, that was a good draw. That was a good draw. All right, so I don't want these Force of Negations at all. I don't really want this Time Twister either. It seems horrible. Seal of Cleansing can do something. I don't want... Where is it? I don't want the Stony Silence. I guess Nihil Spellbomb does do something. I want the Fatal Push, obviously. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. So I guess for those paying attention at home, cutting these three, adding Nihil, Fatal Push, and my Seal of Cleansing. Seal of Cleansing, again, doesn't do much, but I'd rather have it than a Force of Negation in this matchup. And it can help kill a Saga or the constructs if the Saga's already come and gone. It can kill an opposing Vexing Bauble if I need it to. Like, it has more play than the Force of Negation. I just really don't like Force of Negation in this matchup at all. So I don't like the Time Twister either, but, here we are. So if I had Time Twister that game, we probably win the game on the spot. So either way, I will chalk that up to a powerful Lavinia draw, even though our opponent eventually wastelanded out all of our white sources. So let's go to game 2. Game 2, we will be on the draw. I will reveal my Lurrus again. My opponent will also reveal a Lurrus. And yeah, this seems totally reasonable. I mean, we have a bunch of lands, we have removal, and we have a Lavinia. So without like Ancestral Recall, we really can't ask for much more. And I'm not willing to wasteland the black source. I'd rather just wasteland the white source. I think the white source is just way more important. After being on the receiving end of the wasteland lock, it just was detrimental. So, and that's one of the nice things about playing decks, even though I'm not going to play this deck like full time. And if I were to like go to the New York Stacks Exchange event again, this year, June 6th, then I would, oh sure, you can have a time walk. I would not register this deck more than likely, just because again, I don't think you should be playing Legacy in Vintage. Okay, they do have a Wasteland. Interesting. They have second Wasteland that would be super aggressive. Okay, no, the Vexing Bubble's fine. If they don't play a land here, I will just probably hit their black source. Anyways, so the point I was trying to get to is that by playing this deck, or just by playing any deck that you don't normally play against. Oh. Well, here I am just going to wasteland them because they didn't play a land. Now, they might sack this Bauble, and if they do, that's fine. I assume that they're going to sack the Bauble because they didn't play a land. Oh, they have the Recall. That's brutal. Okay. Okay, to finally say my point, I do apologize. by playing the decks, other decks that you may expect to play against, you find their weaknesses a little bit more often, and you can use that to your advantage when you play against those decks. Yeah, still not willing to crack my Misty yet. They haven't done anything, and if they... Oh, as I say, so if they play a Bowmasters here, I could daze it. Now they can play Frog, and I have to Swords it eventually. I would likely want to Swords it on their turn, even though I don't think they would have Force and Negations in. It just seems really bad. Should still probably play around a Force of Negation. I know they have the Bauble, but they can crack the Bauble with the Wasteland. So Lavinia. I don't think I care about Lavinia this particular game. I could Island. I could cast Daze to tap their Wasteland. If I had my own Wasteland, I would consider that. Here, yeah, here I'm just gonna let that go. I still have access to that play if I draw my own Wasteland, which I did not. Here I'm just gonna play Underground Sea and play my Frog. Now, I don't have Daze up because of the Vexing Bauble. Last turn, I could have hard cast it. Again, I think this matchup's just very pivotal on the white mana, so I'm just trying to protect it at all costs. They will likely Swords my Psychic Frog, and there's not much I can do about it. Yeah. Wasteland the Sea, eh? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to Tundra this. So I need to like hold... I don't remember how to hold priority. I think I just hold control. Also, let's not Swords my own Frog. Holy crap, that would be really bad. And then, no, I wanted to... Oh. Okay, I was holding control. I was told that if you hold control, it... Yeah, hold to keep priority. I was literally doing that. So something I could have done was I could have Swords in response, dazed, picking up my Underground Sea. The Vexing Bauble would counter my Daze, my Swords would resolve, and their Wasteland would basically get fizzled. But because even though I was holding control, Moto was like, nah, we don't want you to have big brain plays for your followers. We want you to get punished in every way, shape, and form. So here we are. That's really annoying. That's just ignorance for the client, and I apologize. But I at least wanted to show that that is a thing that you could do. Here, I don't think they're going to block, so I'm just going to attack. And if they do block, then cool. They don't have a Lavinia anymore. So let's go to combat. Man, I really wish I was able to pull that play off. Always yield. Oh. Okay. I mean, imagine if we had our Underground Sea back, it would be even more ahead. But yeah, I'm not going to complain. I'll see y'all next round. I am proud to announce the 2026 Oklahoma Land Run Weekend, July 10th through the 12th. This event will be held at the Reed Convention Center in Midwest City, Oklahoma. Join me and my vintage family for a weekend of Magic the Gathering events featuring huge prizes and competitive play across multiple formats. Main events include a Vintage, a Legacy, and a Team Trios event, including Vintage, Legacy, and Modern. Don't have power? No worries. You can proxy any card currently on the reserve list. Side events so far include a High Roller Vintage Cube for Power Thursday evening, at least one old school charity event, a pre-modern challenge also Thursday evening hosted by Game HQ, Duel Commander, and even more to follow. For more information, please use the links in the description to join the Oklahoma Land Run Discord. I'll see you there. Now let's get back to the video. Welcome to round 2. Let's see if we're playing against a Lurrus opponent, which we might be because the clocks aren't started yet. Or no, I guess their clock is starting. I guess they could be determining if they want to play or draw. Again, I don't know the nuances yet, so let's show my Lurrus. Well, double mock start is nice, but we don't have a black source. Our opponent seems to have kept 7. I don't think this is a good keep. If I knew what our opponent was on, I guess with Force of Will, pitch Treasure Cruise, Spell Pierce off Mock Sapphire, and Strip Mine. Because if we're playing against like a Bazaar deck, I talked myself into keeping this hand. We have Strip Mine for a Bazaar deck, and then we have 2 counters for like Jewel. And then any fetch land. Oh. We are playing against Dredge. Did I miss? I must have missed something. Okay, so I guess I am supposed to force, and I'll pitch the Treasure Cruise. I would like to keep my Spell Pierce for like a Force of Vigor. Yep, there's a Bazaar. Let's hope they only have 1. Do they have Hollow 2? Oh, okay, I was about to say, I'm just joking, game. Please don't do that. I don't need to draw a black source this turn because I am strip mining. But this Bowmasters this Bowmasters, oh, okay, that's nice. I was going to say, will buy us some time. Let's cast the Sapphire. I was going to say, if their last 2 cards are Force of Will, that's totally fine. In fact, I prefer their last 2 cards to be Force of Will. Yep. And we have the Spell Pierce for basically any spell. They have to slow Dredge. So we still need to find something. Let's see if they had a second. Okay, it looks like they didn't have a second Bazaar, unless, of course, they're waiting for post. Now, here's another thing, too. This Icarid. We have Orcish Bowmasters to kind of kill it. I guess we can kill that, too. Yep. All right. Swords of the Plowshares would be excellent. Or a Frog. I think I would rather play the Orcish Bowmasters first, as it will destroy this and block an Icarid and block a hollow one. They only have 1 Dredger left. I don't think they're going to Icarid. Yep, because that's their last Dredger. Yep, they hit another one. Okay. And they hit 2 more Bazaars. That's funny. Yep, you can go to combat. Underground Sea. They might Force of Will this, but we have the Spell Pierce. Okay, we're good. Let's just ping that. No response. Something. Swords of the Plowshare. Oh, Lavinia? I don't think Lavinia is enough. I think I'd rather just Frog. Now this Icarid probably is coming into play. But we can pitch both of my... Oh, Creeping Chill. That's really annoying. But we can pitch both of my cards in hand to block the Icarid and stay alive. Okay. Hopefully don't hit any more Creeping Chills. That's a land. Well. Please don't hit a Creeping Chill. If they do, we're dead. Yep, the Amalgam comes in. I will, of course, eat the hollow one. Yep. Block the hollow one. Go to 2. We're dead to a Creeping Chill. A Time Walk would be nice. Bobble. That's not going to do much. Let's bobble and cycle. I think Sword still gets us out of this if they don't hit a Creeping. Oh, they don't have another black card. And they don't have a Dredger? I think I'd rather leave up mana for Swords than like mana for Recall. I mean, 2 and 1 are basically the same. Yep. Let's see if we can steal a game. Mental misstep. Okay. It's not what I wanted. Now, unfortunately, they can go to discard, so they'll draw up to 8. They have a discard. Let's hope it's not their 4th Bazaar. Okay, they don't seem to have a 4th Bazaar, because I think they would just do it. All right. They're going to discard probably the Gogart. No, they have a Stinkweed. Okay. Am I supposed to jump? I think I'm supposed to jump. I should have bought Lurrus. Why didn't I buy Lurrus? Why am I so bad at this game? This was my game to steal from my opponent, and I just chose not to. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know if they'd block or not, but I'd rather just get in, I think. Or would I? I don't. They have Icarid. I have this. That just seems so bad. I don't think I'm supposed to attack. I really wish I bought the Lurrus. That I threw this game very hard. Let's hope they don't hit a Creeping Chill and they can only put in the Icarid. But yeah, if I attack there and miss, they have lethal with the Icarid. Okay, they are putting me on... I guess if they have Force of Will... Oh, okay, that's fine. I'll go to 1 and I will exile the Icarid. Mental misstep. Okay. Good game. Now, they might have been sitting on the grief for sooner, so who knows, but I definitely punted that, so. All right, Containment Priests, yes. Tabernacle, yes. Cage, yes. Nihil, Bomb, yes. Basically everything. Okay. I can consign Creeping Chill effects, which is nice and good to know. I don't want mental misstep. I don't really want these forces. I definitely don't want force of negations. I don't really want spell pierces either. So I guess I do keep some number of force of will. The daze is fine. Oh, I don't need stony silence either. The daze is fine. I guess with fatal push. With fatal push, I can kill an Icarid or a prized amalgam with a fetch. But I think I'd rather just have consign to memory. Because this also hits Hollow One. It can also counter a grief, I believe. Like the discard ability part. Yeah. And then I guess I'll just keep 2 forces. All right. Let's see if I can punt my way through another dredge match or dredge game. It is likely, like I said, that they had the grief already. Because when I had the frog, like, griefing me doesn't do anything. So I don't think it would have mattered. I choose to believe that it wouldn't have mattered. But it is definitely something I missed until it was way too late. I need to stop making excuses and just get used to this client already. Our opponent might be taking a sandwich break. All right, game 2. I would like to be on the play. I would like to reveal a Lurrus. Sure. We get to have Cage with Days backup and then maybe a Lavinia. Yeah, we'll keep this. I will play Pluto Delta first. Okay, they did bring in Force of Vigors and 1 is down. Yeah, that would have been really bad. Alright, so let's probe Paying Life. 7 cards entered the revealed zone. They have obviously a Bizarre, Serum Powder, Creeping Chill, Icarid, Force of Will, Creeping Chill, Narcomy, but that is not a great hand for them. I don't know if I should get white or black. I think I'm going to get black because I have Demonic Tutor. Because like, if obviously Lavinia could be really strong, but they're not like Vengevine. Otherwise, Lavinia would be a little bit better. So yeah, I'm gonna get the Underground Sea here, and I'm gonna cast this Grafdigger's Cage, and then I'm just gonna daze their Force of Will. This daze has been pretty good. No response. I'm just gonna get some F6 value here. Sure. If I had any zeros, I would have played them. That seems excellent. Yep. So now if we can just, oh no, I was gonna say now if we can just dodge Noxious Revival and Force of Vigor, I feel really good. All right, let's see what we draw. Swords of the Plowshare is not great. And of course our opponent has a decent amount of cards left in their hand. Yep, can't do anything. At least the Icarid still can't come into play, which is nice. And they still haven't found a Dredger, to my knowledge. I really wish I'd top decked the land there, because this Orcish Bowmasters would be huge. Speaking of huge. Alright, let's draw a Plains. Tundra? Okay, I'll take yeah, they don't have a Dredger still. So I don't have the mana to demonic. Like I don't have Tormod's Crypt. I don't think I need a Tormod's Crypt right now, anyways. Let's just play a Bowmasters and hit them. And then now, if they want to Bazaar, I get to put the counters on the hollow one. And by counters, I mean triggers. This does still seem to be a game. And Demonic Tutor could get a Tundra if I need it to. I don't want it to. I would rather just go get a Nihil Spellbomb or something. I guess I would get Wasteland here, actually. That seems way better. Oh, or I can just have a Strip Mine. Why Demonic Tutor when you can just Vampiric Tutor, I guess. I don't know. Either way, that was a very good draw for us. Opponent thinking about if they want to activate now to get one card. They have the Force of Vigor. That's brutal. Okay. Did they still not hit a Dredger? I'm not complaining. I'm just gonna make a Psychic Frog. If they hit a Dredger, I would be a little bit more interested in the Icarid. Sure. Yeah, they don't even have a Prized Amalgam. I don't think I'm supposed to Demonic Tutor for Nihil Spellbomb. Like, I would need to hit a land, too. I'm just going to go all in here. Okay. Game 3. All right. Man. All right. So let's focus on now. Can't change the past. Okay, so here I think I still like everything how I sideboarded. So let's just fire it back. I don't know how much my opponent needs to change things out, but if you are here watching this content and you love Vintage, I do organize a Vintage main event at the Oklahoma Land Run. It is Sunday. I also do a team main event on Friday with Legacy, and this year is Modern. I have been asked to potentially change pre-modern or change modern for pre-modern, but I already made the official announcement, and I think it's very unprofessional to make changes once you've made announcements. But if the side events for pre-modern do well enough, I will consider that in the future. Okay, so here we have Strip Mine Containment Priest, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. What did our opponent do? Show chat. Not chat, sorry. Show game log. I don't... Show game log. There we go. Okay. Begins, keeps the hand with 7 cards. Okay. Having Strip Mine is just so nice. But we have 5 Wasteland effects. I'm going to mulligan to try to find a better hand, I think. Let's see. Consign doesn't do too much, but it can turn off like a chill until I can get Containment Priest into play. If they have a hollow one, they're going to get to play it before. So I'm just going to mulligan, try to find something a little bit better. Okay. We still have an Isle Spellbomb. We have Force Pitching Time Twister. Yeah, let's keep this. We'll put back an Underground Sea. Done. We may even Force of Will out a hollow one. I definitely don't want to cast this Time Twister with our opponent being a Bizarre deck. I wonder if my opponent's thinking which land they should lead with. Just kidding. Hey, look, we have the answer. Now, Bizarre is a deck, or Dredge is a deck that has to keep Bizarre hands. Their deck literally does not function without it. So just because they keep 7 doesn't mean it's a good hand, but it likely does. Just going to play the Spellbomb. If they have a Force, they have a Force. I will Force back. Pitching the Time Twister. Now, I'm okay with them dredging. I usually want to wait until they have, like, relevant triggers on the stack. So this, in my opinion, is still not enough. Basically, I just want to wait as long as possible. Okay, that's good. Oh. That's Wasteland there. That seems great. Our opponent could have another Bizarre. In fact, they're decently likely to. I'm just seeing, I guess I need to just pop out this graveyard. This would be a lot easier if I just do this. Okay, they don't, oh, they do have an Icarid. But only one? I can take an Icarid hit. Oh, they have a Prized Amalgam, actually. Yeah, I do need to hit this now, I think. I think that's enough. And I am going to pay a black. I know I could recall technically. Let's just hope that they don't have another Bizarre. That would be fantastic. If they do have another Bizarre, oh, grief, sure. I have a Frog and an Orcish Bowmaster. They can't hit both. I doubt they hit the recall. The recall doesn't make any sense. If they hit the recall, I'll be more than happy. Yeah, the Frog makes perfect sense. Oh, I can do both. Why not both, he says. This doesn't play around Force of Negation, so I guess I'm supposed to wait until their turn. Let's set an upkeep stop. Why can't I set an upkeep stop? Set stop. Okay, that was weird. Let's target me. Remember, I can still Orcish Bowmasters on their turn. Okay, this is very good for us. Yep, we will gladly wait. So let's play our Underground Sea so we can double Bowmaster them if they want to respond to this. All right, now we're going to get Tundra. Again, we can still respond. Yeah, we're gonna respond. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, that's horrible, Edward. Why? Oh, man. Well, they got me. And they have a dredger now. Oh, man. Such bad plays. Such bad plays. Well, here we go, I guess. Okay, yeah. All right, well, we got there anyways. I'm sorry I blundered through that, but you know what? I'll take the 2-0. I will see you next round. Welcome to round 3. Full disclosure, this is a completely different day. So I was up really late and had to go to bed for work. So gotta reset my mind a little bit, and I didn't feel like I thought it would be weird to be on camera for part of the league and not all of it. So okay, so this hand has we're on the draw, correct? Yeah, we're on the draw. I think the only deck I like this hand on the draw, and it's not even like a strong like, is probably a Bazaar based deck. So I'm going to mulligan this. Here I'm going to keep... This is really tough because I don't know if I'm supposed to keep Spell Pierce, Mental Misstep, or Stony Silence. I could see putting back either Orcish or Frog as well, as I may only need one threat, and these are, 3 pieces of interaction. It's just depending on the matchup, some of these, are lights out and some aren't. I think my logic's going to be to pitch the Spell Pierce, because outside of turn 1, I'm not going to be able to do much with it. And on turn 1, Mental Misstep is likely to be a thing. No response. Did they? Oh, they revealed the Lurrus. I need to stop being bad at Magic. Everyone's screaming at me to check the 1 in the companion zone. No response. So I'm glad I mulliganed. So decline. So they declined to shuffle. Well, makes me extra happy I didn't crack the Mental Misstep there. Here I'll just lead Polluted Delta and say go. Definitely wish I kept the Spell Pierce now, but we'll see. Basic Swamp. Okay, so this is not a PO variant. Okay, they have a Psychic Frog. They have a Psychic Frog with, well, what will be 6 cards. Wow, those are some terrible draws. Yeah, I think... I'm trying to debate if I need to sorcery speed this Orcish Bowmasters or not. I don't think I'm going to. I have the Mental Misstep if they have like a recall and response or something, or a brainstorm. And now here, I'm going to play the Orcish Bowmasters. Let's get the Underground Sea. Play the Bowmasters. What's this? Is this, oh, a Daze. Okay, a Daze is pretty brutal. I guess I'm glad I didn't get my Frog dazed. Brainstorm. Brainstorm's fine. We don't necessarily know that they have a Underground Sea anymore. But if they don't crack a fetch, then we will. Yep, they'll draw one of the cards they put back with Brainstorm. Mox is fine. They replay the Underground Sea. Okay, we go to our turn. Wish we had a white source. Play a Psychic Frog. Forcible back, okay. Our opponent has a lot of the pieces that are really good in the mirror, and also we're on the play to make the days much more relevant otherwise. That combined with us not having white mana for this swords, that might be enough to put them far enough ahead to close out this game. That wasteland certainly will, unless I draw a white source here basically right now. Nope. Alright, Frog's gonna run away with it, it looks like. That is a downside to playing what I like to call a legacy deck in this format, is that I don't have like an oops I win button. So every turn my opponent draws an extra card than I do is just, especially with another wasteland here, is just making it that much harder. There's a Force of Will. Opponent seems to just be blue-black Frog though, so I think we're advantaged in the long run. And honestly, they may not know that we are white ourselves. Opponent speeding up the clock here. Strip mine. Okay. Yep, we're gonna concede. Sometimes it's that easy. Alright, Fatal Push. Yes, please. Honestly, there's not really much that we really want. Definitely don't want this Stony Silence. I guess the Nihil Spellbomb is a cycler, especially with Lurrus. I definitely don't want the Force of Negations. I do think in the long run, our deck is favored just because we have swords. Assuming that they are the blue-black version, they can't exile our threats, so eventually Lurrus can get them back. And our game basically becomes protect Lurrus. I think I'll leave in the one Force in Negation, just because it does, hit a Fatal Push on a Lurrus if we need it to. And if we're casting Lurrus, we obviously have 3 mana to fire back at the Force in Negation. So now that we have a little bit more information, let's go into the next game. We would like to be on the play. We would like to reveal our Lurrus. And we would like to keep. Here, what I'm going to do to play around Wasteland. So I could either go Mox Jet. I can go Mox Jet Wasteland or Mox Jet Tundra, but that doesn't play around Wasteland. Forgive my phone. So I'm just going to go Mox Jet. I'm going to cycle the Lorien Revealed for Basic Island. And then I'm going to leave up Spell Pierce. I could see this play not working out. Because now if they have a Wasteland, they can hit my Tundra. But with me having the Mox Jet, I feel confident that the Underground Sea is not going to be missed. It's just basically, do I need the second Tundra faster? I am going to Spell Pierce this. 1, I have 2 Spell Pierces, and 2, I don't want them getting too much mana on the board at once. Okay, they go Swamp into Sapphire. Okay. I don't want to lead my Tundra, so I'm just going to play the Wasteland. And then I'm going to say go. So now I have Orcish Bowmaster's Spell Pierce up. Interesting. They could force my Bowmasters here and pay for the Spell Pierce. But I'm not going to do nothing with my turn. Yep. Is there a Fatal Push coming? Because we can Spell Pierce that. Huh, sure. So now we'll just buy Lurrus. So I think I'm going to Swords the Orcish Bowmasters and then buy the Lurrus. Because that way they can't daze. Our opponent sequenced the correct Moxen, by the way, to play around our Spell Pierce. Imagine if we Spell Pierced the Mox Sapphire. They could have a second Bowmasters, but also they can't have a daze. They have Swamp in play, but that's fine. It was still correct to do that sequence. Let's see if they force back. If they force back, their recall's just a cycle. Okay. We can F6. They know our hand. They exile the Dig Through Time. Okay. Well, there goes our white source. That would have been a decent draw, too, because we could have played the Orcish Bowmasters immediately. I'm not going to play the Lurrus out until I can also play Orcish Bowmasters. It just doesn't make any sense to me otherwise. I assume that they have basic island if they have basic swamp, so this polluted delta is not going to hit a wastelandable land. Yep. Interesting. It is buying Lurrus? Oh, Treasure Cruise. Sure, they know what card is in our hand. I'm glad I didn't fetch. Let's brainstorm. Spellbomb's a little bit too late. Let's keep it as such. Of course, our opponent has another wasteland. Oh, I meant to leave the swamp up. Okay. I don't want to get my Tundra wastelanded. So I know I'm drawing Scalding Tarn, and in the face of a wasteland, I actually do want to draw Scalding Tarn. So that's why I didn't crack the fetch. But I did mean to use this with blue so I could leave up the black, because I do want to cycle this, but no, I can't. Okay, yeah, they know I have a Scalding Tarn on top. Okay. I do want to Nihil Spellbomb now, because they have that critical 7. They need one more spell for Dig Through Time. I guess they can't just like instantly put something in the yard, I suppose, for free, like with nothing. So I guess I'm safe for a little bit longer. It's just, do I want to potentially play something now? Like a frog here would be nice. Let's go for it. Okay. Bowmasters is also nice, honestly. I think like our round 1 opponent, I just need to be patient with these fetch lands and only go get the Tundras when... Yep, that's brutal. Alright, well luckily if we get our own wastelands, we can start hitting their wastelands. Time Walk, eh? That's fine, I'll be patient. Our own wastelands get to hit their wastelands if we draw any. And now Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time are great. They could have their own Orcish Bowmasters, of course. Like, I don't want to play into mine. But I don't want to sit here and do nothing and give them all the card draw in the world. But I do suspect a Orcish Bowmasters on their side. I believe we've seen 2 of their... No, we've only seen 1 of theirs. I must be thinking of game 1. Oh, that's a frog. Okay. So now we can Bowmasters Frog Time Walk if they don't have anything, which I'm going to assume they do because they have 7 cards in hand. Interesting. I don't want to play into Daze. I'll just play Frog and say go. Again, like, they can counter it or they can kill it. Eventually I'll have Lurrus. I doubt our opponent has like a Toxic Deluge or something, so... I wonder what's in our opponent's hand. Okay, unable to scream. Yeah, that's a thing. Something I realized last night too, after I... Another one? Okay. Annoying, but here we are. That's brutal. Yep. Anyways, back to my point. The dress down. There should definitely be a dress down in the 75 here. But again, I copy pasted, so there we go. I don't have any Surveil lands either. So unfortunate. Cast. Well, luckily, if they ever attack us, we have, like, basically free blocks, because, again, we can get them back with Lurrus. I don't want to use my Time Walk. It's too bad I don't have the... If we win this game, I will put in the Seal of Cleansing. Seal would be just very strong right now. No response. That I can Fatal Push, no problem. And if they have a counter, then they have a counter. It's a Pearl. That doesn't do much. I'm going to keep that one in our hand. I don't think they've seen a... Oh, yeah, they see the Tundra and the obviously the swords. I'm dumb. Yep, let's go to combat. They haven't bought their Lurrus yet. It's still in their command zone, or whatever you want to call it. Mental misstep. Okay, well, that's good for a Fatal Push on the Lurrus. I would like to see a Dig Through Time or something, though, at this point. Just something to break the monotony. At this point, I'll even take a Wasteland just to help protect. Yeah, I'm not protecting that at all. Their hand must be incredibly weak if they're Fatal Pushing a 1/1 at 12 life. Yeah, they have a Demonic Tutor. Is this for a recall? Because I would love to Mental Misstep that. That makes a lot of sense. Now we really need a Wasteland off the top. Enough to where I will probably just Time Walk here for it. Yeah, Demonic Tutoring for Urza Saga makes so much sense. That's a Swords. Come on, Wasteland. I have 5 of you. Or 4 of you, I think, left. Underground Sea is not going to cut it. Yeah, I have four Wasteland effects left with the strip mine. Playing out this land's not going to do much. I think here my plan is to just block, let something die, and then hope I can Lurrus plus get it back. Frog is fine. I assume their hand is just full of nothing but Force of Wills. Alright, here comes the first construct. For the record, I wouldn't have any Force of Wills in my deck if my sideboard was better geared towards this matchup. I just don't think Force of Will is good in this matchup at all. It's just not needed. What did they have to exile for that? A daze? Okay, that makes sense. Yep. Here comes another construct, unfortunately. Well, there's a strip mine. Oh, did they not make another construct? Yeah, I will gladly block with Frog. Okay, they finally buy the Lurrus. Huh, a Wasteland, okay. I think... Yeah, I don't want them Wastelanding both my lands. This plays into days, but I highly doubt they have a days at this point. Something they could do, because it's free, I was just going to say, it's free to fire off Wasteland targeting my Flooded Strand, because now their second Wasteland can hit this. So I'm going to get Underground Sea here, because I'd rather them hit Underground Sea. Actually, undo. I guess I should have gotten Tundra. I have the Pearl, so like missing on the white's not the end of the world. Yeah, I'm gonna get the Tundra, because if I draw Urza Saga, I'd rather them Wasteland this Tundra. Let's cast Lurrus. I doubt it resolves. I assume there's another Force of Will coming my way. But if it does, I'm going to play the Psychic Frog immediately. That's what I thought. I've always liked like Savine's Reclamation in these decks just as a way to get back the Lurrus, but I know that's not needed. It's just unfortunate that our opponent's been able to outcard advantage us. So here I really Really, really wish I brought in the seal. Because that would be one of our better draws at this point. I don't want to spend a swords on this construct. I would like to draw an Urza Saga. Urza Saga would still be really good here. Yep. Yep. Black Lotus. Okay. Good game. I'll see you next match. Welcome to round 4. Our, I guess we don't know if they have the Lurrus yet or not. Let's see. I'm learning. Oh, Tony Scapone. Nice. Well, Tony usually likes to play combo decks, so let's keep. We have Vexing Bobble and Dispel Pierce. That sounds good to me. I assume Jewel. I wish I had my days for this Force of Will they're about to cast, but either way, we have Wasteland on what might be their workshop next turn and Spell Pierce. Yeah, days here would just be absolutely insane. Let's see what they pitch. Time Walk, okay. Well, that's better than average. A white source off the top would be incredible. Sure. Workshop Jewel. Monolith, okay. Still making Stony Silence very good. The One Ring wouldn't be the end of the world, because again, Stony Silence. Oh, they have the Academy. That's not good for us. Luckily, we have Wasteland. This is probably a One Ring, I would imagine, leaving up blue. Transmute Artifact. Sure. I didn't realize you don't have to sack until it resolves. It's kind of cool. I played this in my cube for a while, but I guess I didn't read the card well enough. So do they have the key? Because this can get Time Vault. Oh, it gets another Monolith. Okay, so they're having enough mana for Jewel. Yeah, that makes total sense. That was a cool play. That was a very cool play, Tony. Yeah. Metamorph? If this is a Metamorph, I'm just gonna F6. Yeah, I'm still F6ing. Like, it's very obvious that I don't have anything here. Imagine a Vexing Bubble resolved. But that's vintage for you sometimes. If I had a Mox to protect with Spell Pierce there, this game goes 180. Of course, it's still not over, especially if I can top deck like Pearl specifically. If they pass the turn, that is. If I can top deck like, oh, come on, Pearl off the top. I know they've drawn like 3 Force of Wills, but let's draw a Pearl. That would be great. Pearl. That's a swords. Doesn't do much. Well, they have more mana than anything I'll ever get, so probably not relevant, but sure. I'll take it while I can. I'm sure there's a Force of Will coming, but Sink into Stupor, entered the exile zone. Sure. In case of probe, I probably should just be conceding. Or at least not F6ing. But because they don't have like something to defeat me with yet, so technically a white source could still play a Stony Silence. Opponent has 28 cards left in deck though, so it is very likely that they have another force effect. Yep. 5 more mana, not quite enough for Jewel. But if for some reason they don't have another force blue card in their hand, and I top deck a white source, that could be enough. That's the literal only reason why I'm not conceding. If I do draw a white source and this Stony Silence gets countered, I will just concede though. Mental misstep, not enough. Paradox Engine, okay. I believe that's going to be lethal because they can draw their deck with Relic of Saurons as long as they keep drawing a spell. I'm just going to give it to them. I'm pretty sure this is 100%. I mean, I'm sure it's technically 99 repeating, but either way. Okay, let's get a Stony Silence in. Let's get a Negation in. Consigns, yes. That's almost quite literally what they're here for. It is nice to not play against effectively a Mirror or Dredge, so no complaints there. We don't need Spell Bomb. We don't need Swords, although they could have some number still because they could be bringing in Wormcoil Engines since they don't think that they're white. They may not think that we're white, I should specify. Lavinia is absolutely insane. Frog's not as great because, again, they can just, beat us out of nowhere. And even if Frog draws one card, that's not going to change that. Where, like, Bowmasters at least makes them have to find an answer to it or actually kill us before they draw too many cards or pass the turn into a lethal army token. Need to make 2 cuts. I guess Mental Misstep's not the greatest either. Like, it hits Soul Ring and Recall, and that's about it. I do think I'm supposed to leave in some number of swords. I do think that that's correct. This might be blasphemous, but maybe I'm supposed to take out a Psychic Frog. It's either Psychic Frog or another Swords. I just don't want to get Wormcoiled out and then our opponent, because again, they might think that we're Dimir and bring in Wormcoil Engines, and then Wormcoil Engines just absolutely obliterate us because we didn't keep in any swords. I think if they know that we're Esper, they're not going to do that, or they may not. It's less likely. I'll cut a swords. Yes, I like to play first. Well, that's no mana. Mulligan. That's a turn 1 Lavinia with force backup. That sounds good. Yeah, we will keep this. We will probably bottom a land. If we keep the jet, we get to buy Lurrus with our extra mana, which I think is important. I don't want to. I doubt. I highly, highly doubt there's a mind break trap out there. But there's no reason to play into it. If they have the. Okay, I was going to say, if they have the force blue card again, then just congratulations. I think now I'm allowed to board out my swords. I might still keep in one, though, just because it's nice to be able to demonic tutor for if I need to. But if they do have warm coil engines in the side, they're probably not bringing them in for game 3, assuming we get to a game 3. That is brutal, but... Sure. You have another 1-mana artifact? Okay. Wasteland off the top. Okay. I'll take that. That's a force of negation. So, I guess they can't transmute artifact here, so I'm actually just going to play the Lurrus. And yes, I am aware, oops, undo. I am aware of the bauble, otherwise I would buy back the Lotus. So they could Academy, okay, I was gonna say, and that then they could transmute, but that's about it. All right, let's just try to close out this game. Strip Mine or Wasteland would be incredible. Or a Delta that doesn't do much. But you know what? We have Force of Negation up, so let's go to combat. Another land, it wouldn't be nice, but I mean, it's a Force of Will, so. I really want a Surveil land in this deck. I don't know why these decks haven't played one. I looked at a couple different lists, and none of them were playing one. I don't know if it's supposed to be Meticulous Archive or Undercity Sewers, but it's certainly supposed to be one of them. I would imagine. This might be lights out. If they force it, I just cast it again. Like, they have to Force of Negation it twice. I guess they don't have to Force of Negation my Force of Will. Okay. I mean, I guess there's not a reason to not play the Black Lotus, right? Alright, combat. So now we're hitting for 6 a turn because of the tapped Mana Vault. And their first relevant spell gets countered. Okay, that's what I thought. Alright, well, now we don't have to play this other... We don't have to play this other Swords to Plowshares. However, outside of Mental Misstep, which ironically would have been good that game, which I guess it would have been the Swords if I had decided to replace that, which we didn't draw, so it wouldn't have been relevant. Pithing Needle, like, is only going to name Urza's Saga, really. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to run it back. We are on the draw, so we don't get a turn 1 Lavinia. Well, turn 1 on the play Lavinia, which is much different than turn 1 on the draw Lavinia. But if we can get a Force of Will blue card turn 2 Lavinia hand, I like our chances. I mean, this is Force of Negation, Daze, Strip Mine. We just don't do much. Let's see. Unless I don't like this Stores of Plowshares in our hand. Now they know that we're white, this is a much weaker card. But having Force Blue card could save us, and the Strip Mine is like literally what's buying this for me. And if we mold to 6, our chances of having Force Blue card and Wasteland effect go down dramatically. Like, and keeping a functioning hand. So I think I'm just gonna keep. Because the only thing that makes this hand better is either a threat or like a Stony Silence, like a piece of hate. That's just rude. That is just absurdly rude, Tony. And I'm only forcing this for the record because of Lotus. Yep, play your One Ring. Oh, Relic, okay. Alright, watch this Stony Silence off the top. Oh, gross, okay. Tony Scaponi having the really good hand. Okay, into the One Ring. Yep. Stony Silence would just be the absolute nuts here. Stony Silence. Oh, Seal of Cleansing. Sure. We'll still take that. I saw the white enchantment. That would have been absolutely crazy, wouldn't it? Alright, well, they have a One Ring, which doesn't make me feel great, but we're still in this somehow. Well, our opponent goes land, go. I guess we'll play a Tundra. Give our opponent a little bit of think like we have plays, which I guess means I shouldn't be just F6ing, but... An Orcish Bowmasters wouldn't be the end of the world here, but they're drawing so many cards. Like, they've drawn 6 cards now off this One Ring. Okay, Mox Ruby. That's fine. Another One Ring would be annoying. Okay, Grim Monolith. 4 mana. A Masticore actually would be kind of nice, not gonna lie, if they just played one of those right now. Since we have the swords in hand. I mean, I suppose it could be a paradoxical engine. Oh, paying costs. Yeah, the Masticore. Nice. No response. This is pro multicolor, I think. Yeah. And I am supposed to let them discard, I believe. Also, there's like Force of Negation, but I don't think Force of Negation is going to be a thing. I just want them to be able to discard before I... Ooh, nice. Because this is... The beginning of sacrifice this creature unless you discard a card. When you discard a card this way, destroy target non-land permanent and opponent controls. Okay, yeah. Yep. And that's why you don't auto do that, Edward. I need to stop doing that. As I do it again. Because I think I'm supposed to Swords the Plowshares in response to this One Ring. But here we are. Okay, that resolved. Draw step is fine. We still have a consign to counter something. I think if they had a Force of Will, they would have used it, because the One Ring is a clock unless they have a second One Ring. In which case I could see them waiting as well. Yep. You have a Mana Crypt. It's another clock. That's not good. 3 mana, sacking Crypt for Tinker? Or sacking One Ring for Tinker for a Jewel, which gets around my consign. Yep. I wouldn't be surprised to see a non-Jewel here, just something big, but again, they do know I'm a Swords of the Plowshares deck this game, so maybe not. Opponent thinking. That tells me they probably do have a secondary Tinker target left in their deck. Maybe they're thinking about playing another Argentum. Oh, Paradox Engine. Okay, that's scary too. Yep. I could counter the Paradox Engine trigger, but they're likely able to cast another spell regardless. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Yeah. I think we're just dead because of the One Ring. So, good games. Well, I'll see you next round. Welcome to the 5th and final round of this league. I have a Lurrus. I'm going to see if my opponent has a Lurrus. Our opponent does not seem to have a Lurrus. Well, I have double Lorien Revealed, Wasteland, double Force of Will. Call me a madman, but I'm going to keep this hand. If I don't need to use the Wasteland, which the only way I'm firing off this Wasteland is if they go Bizarre Go. And if our opponent kept a 7, then good for them, I suppose. Or no, our opponent did keep a 6. Okay, they mulligan normally. Mana Crypt A. Okay, so this could be Mono White Initiative. And if it is, I'm happy to counter this. And if it's not, I'm probably still happy, to counter this. I don't think I'm anywhere close to cycling or casting this frog. But if it is Mono White Initiative, I want the option. But this second Force of Will is probably going to have to hit the frog. That is a very pretty Mana Crypt, though. Alright, it is Mono White Initiative, and I'm going to Wasteland that eventually. Lavinia. Our opponent should know we have Lorien Revealed in our hand because I'm not just Wastelanding this and saying go. This should be a very obvious tell. Hopefully our opponent doesn't like have Ancient Tomb here. I would love just second land. Oh, Wasteland? Okay. Now, I assume that they're going to Wasteland here in response. I would, personally. Because if they don't, I'm going to Wasteland their white source. Yeah, I need to get Island here against my better wishes. I would definitely be wastelanding my wasteland here. Okay. No response. I think if I got a non-island... Ooh. Okay, so now I just play Frog, right? I think I'm supposed to just play Frog. If I got a wastelandable land, I could see them waiting, but... I'm going to play Black Lotus. I'm going to play Island. I want to crack this for black. And play Frog. I hope they don't have a Swords to Plowshares, but it's game 1. These decks don't play Solitude anymore, which is nice. I'm going to have to force a Swords. Yep. I can't even cast the Lavinia if I wanted to. Alright. Our hand is literally riding on this Frog. Luckily it can jump, so like if they play the initiative, that's so fine, it's not even funny. Well, this is why you force a Will the Mana Crypt, folks. I assume that this is just to be cycled immediately following next turn. Bowmasters. Okay, let's see if we can hit a black source. No, okay. That's unfortunate. I was going to say, there's no way that they're keeping this. I just wish we had a black source to punish them with the Orcish Bowmasters. Sure. That doesn't necessarily... I was about to say, that doesn't necessarily what they drew. Oh, Voidmere. If no color was spent to cast... Okay, so this counters my Moxen and Lotus, and that's it. I guess a pitched force, but I've already done that a bunch. Come on, land. Okay, that's a land. Combat. Another frog. Alright, well. I would like to steal game 1 against the initiative, please. Seasoned Dungeoneer isn't even the end of the world here. We have 2 frogs that can hit. That's kind of annoying. Okay, well, at least I can attack with one of my frogs, and a white source lets me attack with both. I doubt they block here. Brainstorm, eh? Recall. And a white source. I'm not going to use that yet. Don't want the Twister. I don't think I need the Saga. Artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers, yeah. I'll put it back like such. I can draw the Saga if I really want to. Okay. They can go get a second planes. Yep. I am just gonna... I guess the Twister is actually just lethal. But I don't need to go for it. Like, why fill their hand with potential swords? Let's see if they want to attack. Because if they attack, I can Swords the White Plume. And then they just die because they don't have blockers. I guess it's only 4 damage. They don't just die. But I'd have to still Swords this. Never mind. Because I need to be able to discard cards to present lethal. I'm definitely taking the 3 here. Because I want to wait till their end step. I don't want them to play like second White Plume or something stupid, or like second Clarion Conqueror. Okay. My turn. I can jump. So 3, yeah. Oh, they're at 8. Yeah. Okay. So I was gonna say I think this is still lethal, but I wouldn't jump them. I would just attack and let them block if they wanted to, which I don't think is correct. So Containment Priest can stop the 5th, whatever it's called for the dungeon. Consign technically counters the initiative itself. Let's see, I don't need Spell Bomb. I'm also on the draw, so I don't want Vexing Bubble. I guess in that same vein, I don't want Spell Pierces either. I just play some Containment Priests, take out Stony Silence on the draw. I don't really need or want that either. I'm trying to think if Spell Pierce being able to counter like Swords to the Plowshares is almost the only thing that's going to be relevant, because they should dump their Hand of Moxen. Or Consign to potentially turn off a initiative trigger. Let's try one of each. As I said before, I have been out of the vintage loop, so my sideboarding and matchup analysis is not what it used to be 2 years ago. I am glad that we forced the Mana Crypt, though. And I will happily do it again, even though they never had a cavern still. Forcing the Mana Crypt bought us so much time. Which is why, personally, I still think if you know your opponent's on mono white initiative, you should just hit their fast mana anyways. Because the biggest reason why they're competitive is just being able to play their things ahead of curve. If you make them wait till turn 2, turn 3 to play their Archon effects, that's just not nearly as good. No white mana. The Urza Saga can get a Pearl or a Lotus, depending, but we're not keeping this. If this hand had a random Force of Will in it somewhere, maybe, but like Containment Priest isn't good here. Wasteland is medium at best. Orcish Bowmasters can be good, as it can take and keep the initiative for a round, just because it's, it's 2 bodies, which isn't always the easiest thing to account for. Our opponent debating if they still want a mulligan. They did choose to play first officially. 20 minutes exactly when we won. That's funny. But yeah, I think this is a pretty easy mulligan here. I'm not a huge fan of this 6, because they've already done their thing by the time I get Lavinia out, so I think I'm supposed to go to 5 as well. It's not great, but if they don't keep... I mean, they also mulled to 6, which is good. But if they don't keep a Chancellor... Okay, so they chose to keep. We're going to mulligan to 5. Okay, we'll keep. We will put back a Time Twister and a Bowmaster. Okay, they have a Chancellor. That's unfortunate. Sure. Playing around the wasteland as much as we can. There's a small chance that I want to force whatever they put on the stack, even though it'll get countered. Oh. Deal. Now, keep in mind, there is still a Chancellor trigger. So I need to, like, in response to them casting something, I need to daze alternate cast, get it countered, and then Bowmasters. Yeah. But yeah, I don't care about Void Mirror at all. That's not what this game is about, in my opinion. It would be nice if they put literally anything on the stack, though. Like a ham sandwich, I'll daze just to get rid of the Chancellor trigger. It doesn't even really set us back because we're not even guaranteed to draw a third land, and even if we do, so what? Like, we're going to play Frog anyways, and at that point I think we're just winning. I'm not saying we're going to win, I'm saying that we're winning if that happens. Well, they didn't put anything on the stack, so here we are. Land. Demonic Tutor. You know, can't use that. Demonic Tutor gets countered, so we have to wait till our opponent puts something on the stack. I don't even care if our opponent plays a Mox here. I am countering it in response to the Void Mirror. Or, I should say I'm dazing it in response to the Void Mirror. If I can just get rid of that Chancellor trigger, like, this... So far, this game is heavily in our favor. Now, our opponent could be missing a white source, and maybe they have, like, Archon, White Plume, you know, whatever, but into Dungeoneer. Opponent tanking again. I wonder if they've drawn any Moxen yet and really regretting this Void Mirror. Okay. I will daze. I don't care. Put something on the stack, please. Okay, Underground Sea. Cancel. I almost messed that up big time. Absolutely not. No response. All right, and now we can play a Frog. Technically, we can even play a Demonic Tutor. I just don't know what I'd Demonic Tutor for. I don't think anything. We are going to have to sacrifice our Orcish Bowmasters to take the initiative, but that's fine because our Frog will eat the White Plume. If they didn't have Void Mirror here, the Demonic Tutor does look nice. I will say I probably should have returned the Tundra, because being able to play Island here wouldn't have been the end of the world. But this is what I was talking about. Orcish Bowmasters is really good about stealing the initiative. Yeah. Eat the Orcish Bowmasters. It is free to do so. You lose the initiative regardless. I don't know if our opponent's just thinking or, you know, maybe there's a distraction, but all I can do is commentate when this happens, so I don't mean this to be rude. I just have to say something so it's not dead air, and I think here it's a pretty obvious just block the Orcish Bowmasters and then move on with life. But again, they could be, you know, maybe their cat jumped on their keyboard or something. Okay, they moved to blocks. That makes sense. Let's take the initiative, please. Get our island. Main phase 2. Black and blue, cast frog. Say go. I'm definitely pitching the force. They need Swords to Plowshares here to, like, really get ahead. Portable Hole does it too. Interesting that Portable Hole is a thing. I'm not aware of this. I'm aware of it being a card, not in Mono White Initiative. But again, I haven't played Vintage at the top of my game for almost 2 years now, so. Yep, and unfortunately the White Plume does untap. So going into game 3, I might want the Seal of Cleansing now, knowing that they have Portable Hole. Also, Seal of Cleansing, at this point in time, hitting the Void Mirror would be nice. I don't, ultimately I don't care about it, but if I could just have a Seal of Cleansing, I would take it. Just being able to take the initiative and have Force of Will up for whatever they cast, like this Portable Hole. Let's play Frog. I don't think it's correct to dump my hand to block this White Plume. I think I'm supposed to just take my 10 damage this turn. Next turn I have Demonic Tutor Time Walk. I guess the Orc Army token is actually a decent block here. Just save the life while I can. But I will be Demonic Tutoring Time Walk. Oh my gosh, okay. Well, I'm glad I didn't feed into the swords. Time Twister, eh? So here, maybe I just Demonic Tutor Orcish Bowmasters. We're going to see if this game can change my opinion on Time Twister or not. Because I'm not really a fan of this card in Vintage. I only have it because I want it for Cube. Because I do love this card in Cube. Oh, I should have Bowmastered. That was a draw. Yeah, I should have Bowmastered. I am going to block. I want to preserve my life total as much as possible. If they have another swords, then so be it. It wasn't meant to be this particular game. But that's what game 3s are for. I know they get to untap, but I get the Time Twister. So the White Plume will get destroyed. They're likely to have... Yep, okay, I was going to say, they're likely to have a follow-up here with 7 cards in hand, so the whole going for the attacks doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because they're going to have 2 blockers, or maybe even more. Okay. This is our 1 spell this turn. Oh, and I guess we just shoot this first, so... Yeah, let's Twister. I don't know if hitting the, or I knew where my triggers were going. I can't undo, can I? Yeah, I should have looked at my hand more. Doing these was incorrect. That's on me. These other four should be hitting them. That was a super punt on my part. I do want to get the Saga down. I'm going to Lost Well here. They already have like a massive thing they have to deal with. Put on bottom. Put on bottom. Okay, and I can't play the probe because of the Voidmere, so here we go. I don't think making the Orcish Bowmasters a 3/3 makes a lot of sense. But they definitely should have 3 less damage. Or 3 more damage, I should say. Okay. This is probably a Chancellor off of the 5th initiative. If they see a Chancellor, I imagine it's going to be a Chancellor. Yeah, this was from before. I guess it's going to be a white... Oh, okay. Which enchanter for that? Okay. That's not the end of the world. I'm not even too mad at that. Another swords here will go a long way for sure. Let's look at their hand. Oh, I have a time walk. That's nice. Didn't want to play the bobble A. They have a swords. That's not great. Let's go to combat first. That's egregious. I guess I should kill the thing that has hexproof. Because I could theoretically swords the other one. I think I'm supposed to just... Okay, I was going to say, where's Time Walk? I think I'm supposed to just get Time Walk here. Force of Negation does not help too much. Let's cruise. Draw 3. Recall, draw 3. I would love a swords. There we go. I'm glad we killed the one with hexproof. Combat. Stash is the treasure, yes. Which is nice, because now I can Bowmasters and Lavinia. I might be able to get this one. Orcish Bowmaster is just really pulling its weight. Is this a White Plume? Yep. No response. White Plume taking back the initiative. Always yield. Now they get basic again. I will just end of turn Orcish Bowmasters. I'll let this resolve, because I believe they still have a swords, and that'll be their last spell this turn, and then I can play my Orcish Bowmasters, and then I'll have Force of Negation for their swords. They can't cast anything. They have Archon. Okay. Now we get to go to our turn. We have Force of Negation up, as I said. And here, I guess we have to attack with everything because of swords, because otherwise they go block, block, swords. So we do have to attack with everything. I could strip mine a white source and see if they want to use their swords now. Oh yeah, it comes into play tapped because the Archon. Yep. Okay, so let's go to combat. If I Force of Negation, I can still buy Lurrus. I think they're supposed to wait to see what I attack with, because if I make a I think it is a mistake here, because they did reveal a swords as one of their 6 cards in their hand when I probed. So I think they're supposed to let me attack first, see if I only attack with 3. Because like here, if they don't have swords, I could attack Bowmasters, Lavinia, Orc Army. That way I get to keep a Bowmasters. Okay, they are letting me go to combat. I do want to take the initiative. Casting Brainstorm before any of this doesn't make a lot of sense to me because Archon turns off the rest of my turn for casting spells. Okay, so they're going to take 3, which is really unfortunate because if you include the dungeon damage, they should have had 4 damage on them total, so they'd be at 5, so they'd be at 2 right now. But we get to make a skeleton. 4/1 skeleton with Menace. It's not bad. Just playing Lurrus here just does not make a lot of sense to me. So I still want to buy the Lurrus. And if I gain 4 life off them swording the skeleton, that's fine. I'm going to brainstorm now because I still want to buy the Lurrus. And if they have the force, that's fine. Because I don't want to buy Lurrus, play Lurrus just for it to get swords. Containment Priest is not a bad one. Put back Pearl, put back Force. I could leave up Force, either of them, and not buy the Lurrus. Because I can't Lurrus with this Archon in play anyways, so I think actually I like that. And I could cycle Lorien Revealed if I Containment Priest and or Force of Negation. I guess not and, that's incorrect, but yep, let's do it like this. See if they swords. If they swords, I might just Force of Negation. and leave up Containment Priest. Oh, duh, I can't undo. Yeah, we just talked about this. That's why I kind of had to buy the Lurrus. I guess I don't have to, because I can still, I still have up force this way, so it's not the end of the world. Let's see what they do here. So we know the Swords is gone. Chrome Mox, Vexing Bauble, Chancellor, Archon's played. This is played. Bauble is now played. This draws them a card, but they can't even do anything with it, so no response. Because again, the Archon. And they don't know that we have Containment Priest. Yeah, if I played this game correctly, they'd be at 2 right now, which means these Ancient Tombs would be off, which means the Strip Mine would be detrimental. If they only attack with one thing. Oh, yes. The world's absolute best Containment Priest. Blocking White Plume to keep the initiative so I don't have to attack into their Archon. That's why we boarded it in. Now we get to cycle Lorien revealed. What are they doing? They can't cast anything. They might have forgotten. Yep, they forgot. All right, Throne. Let's see what we hit. Priest. That's really unfortunate. I mean, but at least we hit something. Pearl is also unfortunate because we put that on top of our deck before we shuffled. Seasoned Engineer is going to be annoying. I think it's a Dungeoneer because they tapped 2 White Plumes, but I still think it's correct for me to strip mine this Cavern of Souls. Maybe not, because they can take back the initiative anyways with Archon, because this doesn't fly. That's why Frog would have just been absolute fire. I'm going to play the Wasteland. I'm going to sacrifice hitting this Plains. And then I'm going to say go and hope they just play a Cavern or play a Seasoned that I can counter. Which means I'm not buying the Lurrus again. Attacking with Archon. Remember, they get to untap all their tapped creatures on my turn, which is not great. Also, I need to play a little bit faster. I assume that's going, oh, on the White Plume. Interesting. I guess to make them both 5/5s. That makes the Containment Priest lethal. I need to learn that all trick. And by trick, I mean just hit the right button. Yep, so now I get to attack out. They have to block the priest. I get the initiative. I like where we are. Oh, I guess they get blocks on here. But I definitely want the initiative, though. What are we... I wish it showed me... what's the last thing we did? The throne, so we'd go back to basic, which doesn't do much. Yeah, they would be dead, unfortunately. If I played this correctly. Okay, I need to make decisions and stop lollygagging. I think here I'm supposed to... I'm just going to attack all out. Buy Lurrus, play Lurrus, probably. I could see only attacking with Containment Priest and giving them the option if they want to unlock the Archon. But if they unlock Archon... Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Let's finally buy our Lurrus. I don't want to play the Lure. I guess... Let's sacrifice hitting this. I guess I will play the Lurrus. We only get punished by literal force. I mean, sorry, not force. Swords to Plowshares. And if they have swords, then so be it. This way, if they attack us, they have to have White Plume and then they go to 1. Yes, they get to untap all their attackers because they've completed the dungeon, but... Interesting. They're letting me keep the initiative. Well, I think that's just going to be game then, because I'm just going to forge. Yeah, that was going to say, okay, well, you know what? At least we profited. So I was worried when we got those back-to-back losses, but you know what? I'll take a profit league. I'll see you in the outro. All right, so 3-2, not too shabby. Still technically a profit, so I cannot complain. I do think we could have played a lot better. However, you know, one of our match losses was our opponent just absolutely drawing better than us, and there's nothing we can do about that. That's just part of the variance of it. And then Tony Scapone winning the die roll that one game really mattered, and then just absolutely crushing us in game 3. Those matches happen a lot. Or sorry, I should say that happens in those matches a lot. Where like the Jewel deck in general, I know Tony plays a little bit different from like traditional Jewel. Usually if they can just like stick one thing, it just cascades, no pun intended. So if you don't have, you know, you're forced to hit, or if they have force for your hate piece, those games can very easily do that, at least in my experience. Andrew, if you're watching, he likes to play Jewel, and yeah, he's absolutely crushed me many times in that matchup, especially because most of the time we play that, I play Oath. So back to this deck. There are some glaring issues I have with this. I don't like the Twister. I know I misplayed. I didn't realize. I got it in my head for some reason to ping the 5/5 instead of actually reading my hand, seeing that I had the swords, and then go from there. Just something I should have done. So that's just part of me. I need to play better. But even without that mistake, I just don't like this card. I really don't. But something I do want to put in is Dress Down. I definitely want to Dress Down somewhere here. I think I can maybe shave a Force Negation. When I first put this deck together, this was the sideboard. Again, I think 2 of these were technically no rods. I've already said the reason. But I guess if you skipped straight to the ending, I replaced no rods with Stony Silences because these are cheaper, and I'm still trying to buy out the entire cube. Because I don't want to rent. So here we are. These were like 2 cents. So I'll get no rods eventually. If I have one of these leagues, I'll buy a no rod if that makes you feel better. But yeah, anyways, I like this shell. I could definitely see why people like this deck. I had a lot of fun playing it. I didn't necessarily feel like we were out of it outside of when our opponent just attacked with Frog, the second and third time and we weren't able to find an answer. That was about the only time where it's like, okay, this is horrible. But the deck definitely has legs. I still don't know if it's my cup of tea, but if I could continue to do well with it, maybe I'll consider it for New York. So, yeah, I'm gonna sign off, make some changes. I think I'm gonna play the dress down. If anyone out there has any opinions on what I should do to both do and to get better, feel free to let me know. I look forward to seeing the comments. You guys have a good night. Welcome back to another episode of What's on Edward's Wall. Last time I wanted to take a minute, real quick, doing this live, folks, because I realized I forgot to grab the card. So I talked about Ryan Chimzar a little bit last time, and something I realized I failed to say is why it's a DRC. Some of them are obvious, like when I did Steve Maninian's Gush, I haven't like necessarily said, but for the most part, I think I've said like why their card is their card if it's not like blatantly obvious. And Ryan signed the DRC for me because one of our instrumental matches against each other, I forget which land we're at this point, but I'm playing Doomsday, and there for a while, again doing this live, I was like, I'm gonna get really good at Doomsday. So one of the like TVL things that we did, that Jared provided, the standstill player I mentioned a while back, he provided these notebooks. After a few pages in, I started doing the literal book of Doomsday here, and I started recording like all these little notes and how I killed, what the pile was, and it just goes through a bunch. So I just wanted to get really good at that combo deck for a while. So while I was playing that deck, Ryan and I played each other, and he was on the DRC deck in Vintage. And if you don't know, Ryan's name on Moto is Lord Delver, so it's pretty easy to assume that Ryan likes to play Delver tempo style strategies. But anyways, I had to build a pass the turn pile, and Ryan has two of these out, right? And I'm like, okay, it's going to be incredibly hard for me to die from here because, Ryan's playing what's essentially a legacy deck. And I've already presented, my combo, and I built my pile. And again, this was, not to like toot my own horn or anything. But I was really good at Doomsday for like a year and a half. And so I built my pile, I went to do my thing, and Ryan's able to go to his turn. And I remember Lightning Bolt being involved and his Surveil triggers giving him exactly enough to make both of these 3/3 flyers, and he hit me for 9, and I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, you hit like the literal perfects off of your Surveils, because I believe it was land, Lightning Bolt, and then I don't know, probably Bauble, like Ponder or some other sorcery to hit all 4 types. And I remember being so tilted because it was for top 4, and I'm sorry, top 8. Like we were playing for top 8, I believe. I believe it was the last round. I don't remember the exact details. Ryan might be able to chime in on the comments for more specifics. But I just remember being so tilted that I lost to that. So we talked about when you signed a card for my wall. I was like, clearly it has to be DRC. I mean, why wouldn't it be? I don't think this was the exact DRC that defeated me that day, because this wasn't signed that day. A running joke for a long time, for like the first, like minus Dr. Shay's a Tog, which is unfortunately just off screen here. Minus that one, there's been my wall was just like cards that have beat Ed. Other people's words, not mine. But because even the Monastery Mentor, if you remember Brian Koval's story, they beat me with PO back in the day with like Grape Shot to kill my oof. So anyways, I just wanted to take that way longer than I needed it to be detour and just really give Ryan his justice on his card. I felt really bad after reviewing it and being like, I completely skipped over it. So here we go. Ryan, you get a bonus one and you deserve it because you're awesome. But finally, to get to the next person's card, I've already preluded to them as well. Obviously, they're blank here, but we got Tyler Regals. Tyler's someone I've known for a few years now. I actually met them to bring up Brian's name again. Brian did a couple commercials for me. I think going into the third land run. I believe it was the third land run. And Tyler and Curtis from Wyoming, yes, they do exist, decided or saw that video and decided to come out. And for those that don't know, I like as a thank you to everyone who comes out, I started doing a barbecue from the first year. And so Tyler's card, and you can kind of, there's a second one I'll talk about here in a second. Tyler's card says to Ed, provider of barbecue. And of course, you put barbecue tribal, his signature, which he says is terrible. I don't know. I think it looks kind of cool. And then if you don't know Tyler, he loves to do the finger circle thing. So that's what that is underneath tribal. But yeah, I had to text him to be like, hey, what does this say? Because it's really hard to see. But that's what it says, provider of barbecue. I don't know. When I went to pull this off the wall just now, I noticed this. I honestly don't remember getting this one. I don't know if Tyler like snuck it in because Tyler's been to my house a few times now. And it's not out of the question that Tyler would have, put this in the slab that I have these in. I didn't want to just flip it around because I have the command strip on the back so I can rearrange these. Eventually that mountain will go where it quote unquote belongs. But while I'm doing this, I don't want to rearrange them too much because it's going to be very hard for me to remember who all I've done, and I don't want to accidentally skip anyone. But yeah, so Patrick Sullivan's mountain, which will be moved eventually when I get at least a row or two done. Speaking of which, Tyler was the one that helped me get that mountain, so very happy with that. But yeah, so the paradoxical outcome says, Ed, thank you for being you and for all that you do. And then he did a duck, and then he says, I'm just a PO boy. And then he says his much better signature, and then another finger circle. So yeah, so that's Tyler Regals for you. Tyler is a very good vintage player. He's just a very good Magic player, but he's mostly a vendor. So I'm kind of jealous that he can just show up to tournaments and play and win and give it very little effort, is what it looks like. I'm sure it's not very little effort, but yeah. Tyler, you're great. I love you, buddy. We've been on many trips together, and he flies out just to watch my dogs sometimes because he wants to. That's just the type of person he is. But yeah, I wanted to show those cards off. I don't want to sit here and ramble for, ever, because I can. But one story I will share about Tyler before I let you go is, so again, as this card suggests, because actually they signed these for me at the land run that they attended, both Curtis and Tyler. Curtis's hollow one is right here, actually. I'll get to that one eventually. But anyways, so fast forward a few months. We're in Vegas. It has not been very long, and we're in Vegas. I want to say it doesn't matter, I guess. But we get to Vegas, and I go to Journey's End's booth. I want to upgrade my power to beta, and because the margins weren't very far off, and I had a ton of chaff that I felt like I would be okay with. Now, when I say chaff, I mean like unlimited duels and multiple tabernacles and just a bunch of like legacy stuff that I don't really mind selling out of. At the time, I thought temporarily, but honestly, like I didn't play legacy anymore. I just preferred vintage and cube. So I ended up never buying those cards back. but I mean, minus like the vintage stuff, of course, but all the legacy things. But anyways, so we're sitting here at this booth, and Josh, one of Tyler's bosses, if you will, one of the people that hires him often, I should say, to do his vending. We're doing this like, you know, $30,000 transaction for this Black Lotus, and a couple things happens. But first, you know, I have my trade-ins, whatever. Well, I give him my phone so we can do the PayPal part on top, because, you know, the PayPal part's still 5 digits. And so, oh my gosh, it just started raining really bad. So I do my PayPal part, and I hand it to Josh because I'm like, hey, I don't want this going to the wrong person. You know, you enter it, please. Like, this is on you. So Josh does it. Well, apparently, the miscommunication, I guess, because I didn't preemptively set it up exactly how Josh needed the payment, it took longer. I don't get it. But besides the point, so we're sitting here like, you know, maybe 12-ish thousand from PayPal, and then the rest was in cards. And Josh looks to Tyler after like, hey, like, you know, there's going to be a few days before this transaction goes through because of whatever was selected. And because I had the payment, or I had the money on the PayPal, so like I don't know why I didn't just directly come out of the PayPal. But I guess it accidentally got like as a check or something from my bank. So that was also annoying because I had to like move some money around. But so, you know, my wife didn't murder me. So, but to finally get to my point, I apologize. Josh looks over at Tyler, and Josh just says, you know, are you, something along the lines of like, is he good? And Tyler said, absolutely. And I'm sitting there like, I barely know this guy. Like, yeah, he came to my event, you know, yeah, I gave him some barbecue. Like, we're talking, you know, maybe 10 to 15 bucks worth, you know, because my dad helped me, you know, make it and everything. So like whatever, like the pure cost of the meat was basically, and the seasonings, I guess. And so it's like, okay, cool. So for like $15 and you shown up to my tournament, you're going to vouch like 12 grand. So I sit there, and, you know, of course, at the time I'm a contractor for a military base, and, you know, so I have, you know, my CAT card and all these other credentials and security clearance credentials and, you know, whatnot. So I pull out my wallet, and I'm like, hey, like, you know, I promise I'm good for it. Like, you know, here's all my credentials, like, you know, and John, like, before I could even pull everything out, like, I even like have my Eagle Scout card in my wallet, and, you know, before I could even pull any of it out, and finish the story, Josh is not like cuts, like, not rudely, but like cuts me. I was like, no, if Tyler says you're good, you're good. So I was just like, okay. So he hands me the piece of paper that says Black Lotus on it, and, you know, has some Sharpie. Just kidding. But, you know, has a black bordered and says Black Lotus on it, and I was super excited. So that's one of my favorite, if not all-time favorite Tyler stories. I have so many to share, but I'm not gonna make you guys sit here and listen to me any longer. For those of you that are still listening, but to wrap up that event, I don't know how else to say this. It might sound mean. I'm sorry. But so we're sitting there, and all these cards are out, and, you know, roughly, I mean, I don't know what his numbers were, probably like 40%. I don't know. But, you know, it was like the other half of 30. So it was like 18-ish grand, in cards at like, you know, 40-ish%. So you can go figure, it's probably like closer to 25, you know, grand of cards sitting on the table, somewhere around there. I don't know. You guys are probably better at math than I am. And one of the security guards, because it's, you know, it's getting late, they're like, hey, like, you know, we need to wrap up or whatever. And I remember Josh, I hope he doesn't mind me like throwing him under the bus or anything, if this is even considered that. But so the guy's like, yeah, we're wrapping up, whatever. He walks away, and Josh just goes like, I don't think that guy knows that like his salary is on the table right now. Like, that's the kind of transaction we're trying to do right now. And of course that's only one, you know, one side or whatever. But anyways, that was one of my favorite all-time stories, and that was the day I got a beta Black Lotus, and that was the day that effectively a complete stranger vouched for me for 5 digits. But needless to say, I didn't disappoint. Things went through, and I absolutely loved casting that Black Lotus, and yeah, I can't wait to see you, Tyler. Hopefully at the New York Stacks Exchange event, and everyone else that's going to that event. So, without further ado, I'll finally let you guys get back to your regular scheduled programming, and I greatly appreciate everyone for watching my videos, and the ones that like me, telling these stories about the wall too. It's been fun doing, so I'm glad some of y'all recommended me do that, because it's just been an absolute blast talking about these. I'll catch you next time. I realized I did it again where I didn't explain the cards, but luckily I'm still making the video, so I get to go back and fix it before going to the next one. So I know that Tyler likes to play Storm decks. I don't know why he chose Rite of Flame specifically. I know back when we first met, he had like foil everything. He liked to foil out like all of his cards. So I guess when you vend for a living, you get to do that a little bit easier than maybe the average person. But yeah, so that's this one. And then Tyler just really, really, really loves PO. Of course, I already have the PO, Justin Franks, the Power 9 on Moto. But Tyler still did a PO for me. So that's what these are about. I didn't want to mess that up 2 times in a row. So thanks, and sorry for the interruption.